So Adnan Shah is a seasoned IT executive with over 20 years of experience managing complex IT environments and developing organizational strategy. He served as Deputy CEO for the Consumer Financial Potential Bureau, leading a team of 200 with a multi-$100 million budget. As CEO of SAJ Technologies, he drives innovation in cybersecurity, data management, cloud computing, AI, and IT modernization. Adnan holds degree from Penn State, George Mason University, and an MBA from Georgetown University.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك اللهم إنا نستعينك على طاعتك سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I just wanted to first start off with the congratulating the entire ICRA community that have held this tremendous conference, right? Pulling a lot of people together and then conducting such an important topic nowadays is very, very, it's a big job and should be applauded. You know, for your and Dr. Cascas, you know, like yesterday, or you mentioned that you were 80 years old, right? But your energy is just like, you know, even beast are 16 years old. So inshallah, I hope and I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that it gives you reward for bringing all these magnificent speakers that you have brought together in this conference. First of all, I just want to make sure that what I've been introduced as is pretty much, I'm not an AI expert at all, right? What I do is that is drive the policies, and AI happens to be one of my area where, you know, I wrote policies for the government when they first started into the AI. So I just wanted to set the stage to make sure that people understand that, you know, my contribution is based on what I've learned and what I've written in terms of policies and how it can be put together as the you know, beneficial for other people. So what I'm going to do is start off with the slides that I put together for this, and then we'll go from there. My topic today that I chose or given as the ethical implication of AI in the Qur'anic study, right? So we have to explore the intersection of technology in the in today's world, because, you know, a lot of speakers have talked about how AI can impact the data that is putting out there for Quran or any other Islamic related information. So we want to make sure that we guide the people in the right path in terms of providing the right data, right? So my topic is basically, you know, how can the AI can be rapidly, you know, technology that can rapidly help in the area of different fields, and then it has a lot of immense significance in the Islamic tradition, right? Because as we see that Quran also invite people to learn as much as you can, right? But learning of technology has to have some boundaries, right? That's the most important thing. A lot of speakers have talked about it, and we want to make sure that we are not starting off in the wrong path. And then a lot of people have, you know, I've seen a lot of different AI applications that are misguiding people, right? Now, we all have heard the term called the Google Alim, right? So we don't want to get into more. We don't want to get into the area where, you know, 10 years from now, people are saying, oh, this guy is a GPT Alim, right? So we want to make sure there are a lot of ethical boundaries around. So my understanding of the policies that I've written in the past, how they can impact, right? I know Dr. Cascas mentioned yesterday about, you know, how different governments are putting together policy before it gets into the hands of the people to make sure that they follow the different aspect of those policies written by the government or any government or private groups. So I'm not going to get into the AI because everybody knows that. I mean, I know a lot of speakers have given a tremendous, more than what I can explain. And matter of fact, they're working on establishing the different GPT application that it helps with the AI and Qur'anic study. So basically, if I were to put AI in the, there's a reason why people call it artificial intelligence. It means that it's not replacing the human, right? It's only providing us the knowledge that human provide to the computer, right? So your intelligence, human intelligence, are just to think how the machine can learn from the human. It's not replacing the human, and that's why it's very important that we need to have a different aspect of human intelligence in this new era of technology, right? So there are, like we all know, that there are three types of different, there's a narrow AI which specializes in the virtual assistant. So if I were to do a check on different question within the realm of the my question, like for example, if I ask the chat GPT that what is the how, like one speaker yesterday talked about how many pillars are in Islam, and then it gives you different. Those are called more like a system, sort of like a narrow AI. But in general, AI, which means we are still in very cognitive. It's hypothetical to me because I've seen with the different technologies that we have worked in as a company now, because I spent 20 years in the government and then now I'm running my own company. So I've learned a lot of different companies are doing a lot of different technologies within the AI realm of the overall. There are a lot of different ideas that are still in place, hypothetically, but they're showing as that they're ready to be published for the general public, right? So we want to make sure that we're not get into that within the Quran, because that's very important, that we are not posing any information that is not taken in the wrong direction. There are some different applications within the AI. We all know about NLP. I don't want to get into the technical part of it because of the time I have. I just want to put it out there for people to understand. And of course, in the Quranic study, there are different, what I've learned so far by testing different GPTs and different AIs. There was one speaker that has, introduced one. It's called Ansari. It's, to me, is making the digitization of the Quranic text is more important, right? Because I think we have talked about it in the different speakers that have said that we need to have current applications with what their benefits are, right? So one of them that I have learned that it's out there is the text of the Quranic and NLP for the Quranic interpretation and translation. There are multiple study AIs that are out there, and then also there is an AI-based tools for Quranic recitation and modernization. So those are to me, are the basics that we need to start off with, right? And then the benefit, we can look at the benefit that it may have in the different areas. Then I think coming back to our my overall ethical implication of Quranic study combining with the AI is that we need to have autonomy and authority. And I think we all talked about that we have to have we cannot replace the scholars that have the knowledge and the ilm, but having a study assistant from the technology is what we need to make sure that we have that. So number one, that we need to have autonomy and authority that covered by the scholars, and then we need to also have a accuracy and authenticity, right? So ensuring all data that being generated by AI is accurate and authentic, right? So we don't get into the 5 years from now, people are interpreting, taking the wrong direction and taking some wrong path towards different data that is being put out there, right? So, and the third one is the bias and the fairness, right? We want to make sure that we are addressing the potential biases in algorithm that we're writing in AI. That's something I know that a lot of speakers have talked about. That's very important, and also making sure that we have, neutrality is in the AI interpretation and outputs. So those are the areas which I think in the ethical consideration that has to be looked at. Moving on to the next slide is so when we talked about ethical areas, we have to also have the Islamic ethical framework, right? So some of those are the 4 different principles that I've found so far that is out there. We want to make sure that the AI is the fairness in the application of and the outcomes that we talked about. And then also it is important that the data that we're putting out there is truthful, right? So ensuring that all data that is generated by the AI is truthful and people can, take that data and then confirm that it's authentic data. And then also it's a huge responsibility on all of us that are working on this AI is to make sure that there's accountability and the development and use of AI. That's very important. The 4th one is the avoidance of haram, right? I mean, preventing any harm caused by the AI misuse. That's something that I fear that because we have seen some non-Islamic or non-Qur'anic other AI systems that have been misused. We don't want to have that be part of our Islamic framework within the AI and the Quranic study. Different application that we can look into is that these are the different ethical development of the AI and the Quranic studies, and also aligning AI application with ethical issues, right? We all know that we have different views on the Islam when it comes to Islam. We have a different interpretation of Islam. We have 4 different or 5 different school of thoughts. So we want to make sure we consider all of that when developing those applications. So as I was just doing a research on this topic, I thought it was important to have some case study, right? We have to start off with a case study. I know a lot of people that are putting out there small GPTs for Quranic study without doing any case studies. So case studies are very important. So we want to make sure that one of those things that I thought it was, it's valuable is that if we can have the enhanced non-Arabic speakers, system where people that don't speak Arabic can use that case study and then learn from the AI and then learn from the scholars that are putting and making sure they're checking all the boxes. They're creating the guardrails around the AI data that is being put out. And then second case study that I thought is recitation, because no matter how how we learn the technology, but if we don't understand the basics, right? Recitation of the Quran is more important than understanding, right? So if you cannot read the Quran correctly, and no matter if you learn it, or you learn the whole Quran, you're not gonna get the gist of the Quran, which is the first part, learning the Quran recitation, right? So AI can be very valuable into those 2 different case studies, right? The second one that like I said, it's very important because I've gone through a lot of personal experience where I've seen people not having a right recitation of the Quran and they they read the word incorrectly, right? If you do that, then you're not actually learning the Quran, in my view. The last couple of slides is talking about the balancing the technology and the tradition, right? So we cannot have the technology without tradition, because I talked about 4 or 5 different school of thoughts. So we have to consider all of them, right? And we have to work as an ummah to make sure that we are balancing our tradition with the technology. And then we also have human scholars. I think that's more important than creating the technology, to make sure they check the box, they create the guard rails around this technology, which can get out of hand very quickly. And then also, involving our community, like just like Dr. Cascas and the ICRA has brought in this community, it's a learning curve, right? So we have to continue on that. I know Dr. Cascas talked about the Abu Dhabi group, which I've done a lot of advancement in the AI. But I think I was reading their manifesto. It does talk about involving the community, right? And then whenever we have these discussions, having people come join the discussion is helpful. To me, it's a very important. At the end, I'll just say that in order to have the ethical AI use, it is important that the oversight of the application, and then also making sure that we have Islamic scholars are part of the process. Also making sure that education and awareness is ongoing. You can, so we're not developing an AI technology or AI GPT or AI different part of the AI, and then just leaving it open. We have to have a guardrails. We have to make sure that we have a limitation, and then a scholarly oversight on those applications. In the last future direction, I think like I said, there is a lot of potential in AI, but we have to make sure that we are making sure that it's within the realm of our ethical and traditional values. Yeah, we have already talked about that, and then I think I'm also 1 minute over my time. So thank you so much for the time. I appreciate it. I'll be open to any questions and answers.